Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name's Andy, Corporate Commander TFW, and I'm joined this week by the fluffy-footed man himself. It's Mikey G. Wolf V3. Hello, Mikey.
I come in pints.
Whole pints.
I have to. You know, you need a lot. You need something to store it all in.
That's true. That's true. How are you doing this week, Mr. Mike? Is it going good? Is it going well for you?
Innuendo. It's grand actually. Not too bad. Busy enough personal week. So, but yeah, grand. No major complaints. No major excitement. What about you, Andy?
Well, I'm avoiding gunfire, as you can probably hear in the background. Or you might not be able to, for it is the 5th of November here in the UK, where we celebrate the exploding of Parliament by exploding things with bright colours in our back gardens.
I thought you were celebrating some movie and an internet movement.
I mean, that could very well be the case, but I'm not. I'm just shut in my little hobbit hole, hiding away from the world, as you know, one tends to do in these festive days. Do you remember? Well, I don't know if you ever had this, but years ago, we used to get people coming around asking for, effectively begging for money, like on Halloween, for the Guy Fawkes thing, and I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
We had bonfire night, which is just like people coming around. We're going to have a big public bonfire. We want funding.
Yeah, it's like no, I'll come to it and I'll watch it. I ain't paying for it.
I'll burn him.
I'll burn him too.
We're bringing a mannequin ourselves. No, you'll burn him. I will choose one to burn.
We've had some family issues this week. We have nominated one of our own.
Like a very odd version of The Purge.
Oh yeah, could be. I mean, welcome to the UK.
That's a terrible movie.
I mean, series. Let's be fair, it's a series of terrible movies.
It's like, oh, this is our idea. You know what? That wouldn't solve crime.
Wouldn't it?
No, because all you'd be doing would be giving people who are unbalanced a taste of the unbalance, and then they'd want it for the rest of the year, and would in fact be more likely to commit crimes. Once you remove that social stigma.
No, you get rid of it all in one night. I mean, everything's fine after that.
Not. So what, all the rapists are just sitting there on like the next morning just like, well, that's me done for the year.
Back to that priesthood. Boo-doo-boo.
Just bring up the calendar where they just have them marked off and just like counting down till Christmas, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Hide your wife. Seriously, hide your wife.
Oh, I've always liked your daughter, Sam. Okay, that's weird.
Oh, she's fine with me for a few months yet.
It's a stupid movie.
It's a very stupid
Very
movie.
stupid. It's after Halloween, of course, and there is very, very little news this week, but we'll try and entertain you with some of the woo-woo that we've seen this week on the interwebs. Transformers news related. We're going to start off with a bit of crap, and it's going to be a bit of an old record, as per usual, as new Hallmark Optimus Prime holiday ornament. Does he have a Christmas hat? Does he have anything Christmassy related? Well, of course he doesn't. Wow, I've just had a look at the close-up images of it. I'd only seen the far away ones. I hadn't actually clicked on the close-up image. Oh, woof. This boy's been hit by the ugly stick. Jesus. It's G1 Optimus Prime, I think. But it looks like it's been painted by myself, and I'm not a good painter.
Oh, dear. Looks like it's been molded by you as well.
Yeah.
And then melted.
It looks like he's been... The way that they made the mold is when they made the prototype, it was actually chiseled from a bar of soap in a prison cell. And then cast into, a metal mold. Because this thing is... Oh, dear. Oh, boy. And it's $8. It's $8.
Have you seen the first comment? Or, well, it's the last comment, but it's the first comment that pops up.
No, what's it say?
Oh, my God. I'll be picking this up because the first G1 Hallmark Optimus ornament goes for like $125 now.
Woof,
and
what?
I'd like to Yeah. So he's buying this to be an investment.
Have we reached as collectors that stage where we're investing in Christmas ornaments?
Not just that, are we investing in this Christmas ornament?
Yeah.
Because if this is worth $100... Oh, God.
I want to briefly go back to the fact that you've mentioned that the first Optimus Prime one was is worth 100. Did you say 125?
Yep.
$125 for an ornament.
I don't remember there being that one, so I'm going to see what it looks like.
Probably looks like Optimus Prime. That isn't. I'm going to assume it doesn't look like pure shit like this one. Usually I'm kinder to things. I'm not kind to this one.
Okay. So it's basically it's like hang on, this is the image that came. This is the only image that came up on when I searched, and it's Cybertron. And I mean, that can't be right. That must be an old one. Let's see. Okay. It's a stylized version of the original toy. It's a really cheap version of the original toy, which looks like the original toy. And and because there's a Grimlock and there's a Megatron and there's a Soundwave.
Right.
And I can see, for a collector's perspective, well, I can't see why anyone would hang a Grimlock in their tree, but I can see why, from a collector's perspective, that this sort of really old school thing looks like the old toy, whatever. Okay, it's marketable.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be that marketable, but it's marketable. This looks like it exploded. And I'm looking at the Amazon listing now, and they're showing the properly painted version. It doesn't look better. It just has better paint.
Ooh.
It still looks tat.
That's I mean, I'm not. It's disappointing to see that the one in the store is utter trash. I'm hoping that this is a one-off, and the rest of them are painted better. Because this is abysmal, especially because if you look to the thing to the right. Now, granted, you can't see them perfectly, but there's some DC superhero ones where they're like super chibi, cute Barbie doll styled kind of ones, and they don't look like trash in comparison to this thing.
It's less painted and more look like someone got a pink gun.
Yeah, when Homer invented that paint shotgun and shot Marge with it.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, yeah, I could see that. So if you want this, fine. I think this would be best for if you're a family that has like 2 Christmas trees. You have your proper Christmas tree, and then you have your kids' Christmas tree.
Hey, Seth. You've got 3 trees in the house this year, Seth.
What? 3? Why does he have 3? Yeah.
Apparently, his girlfriend is very big into Christmas.
Oh, wow! And
very big into her Christmas tree. So apparently, and this isn't me stalking. This is me listening to other podcasts. They're going with like these themed Christmas trees. So
I thought you were going to tell me something like Seth's a big fan of oxygen. It's just I need all the trees.
Please plant these trees. I need all the conifers. They're evergreen. They'll last the harsh times. To be fair, the way California has been with the whole fire and stuff, oxygen may be in relatively short supply.
Oh, that's a sad truth, but yeah.
Take care of yourself, people in California.
Yes, please do.
We give a crap. Smoke inhalation is not fun.
No. So, like I say, if you want to get this thing, it's been spotted in Target in Wisconsin.
Target.
So if you're lucky enough to go there, make those sick investments.
Yeah. I mean, you can never predict what is worth money. Even now you can't.
Weird. Yeah.
It probably ain't going to be that unless it's like I've got the rare shit variant paint job.
I can tell you what's not going to be worth money, and they haven't been worth money in a very long time. Comic books.
No, Andy, you don't understand. It's a number 1.
Yep, and foil.
Yeah, it's a number 1, Andy, and it's foil.
Yeah.
Like, are you telling me Secret Wars 2015 number 1 is not going to be worth money?
I might be inferring that, yes.
Key Marvel reboot event. Are you telling me that the first issue of Flashpoint will not pay for my house?
I'm saying that you might want to invest in other things. Like
Dreamwave?
The actual stock market.
Or Bitcoin.
Or Bitcoin, yes. Yeah.
Why didn't we all get in on Bitcoin?
See, I thought Bitcoin
it would have
was
been
meant
so
to be
easy.
trash back in the
It
day.
is now.
Yeah.
But if you got in it was trash then as well. That was the thing. But if you got into it and you just got loads for cheap and just said, sure, fuck it, why not? You'd be rich now. A lot of people are.
Weird.
I still can't figure out how Bitcoin works. I've looked it up.
No, I've never really looked at it and never understood it.
It's very, very nebulous. Like, some people are saying, oh, Bitcoin, it's worth like 20 coins is 1,000 or something like that. And I'm just like, but I've seen streamers get like 300 bits or something like that. I'm guessing that's not worth like 300,000 or whatever. You know, it don't make sense.
No, to me neither. But Mikey, do you want to take us on to our next story?
Yeah, so Alien Attack has given us colored prototype images of Alien Attack STF-02 El Cid, which is their highly articulated and transforming Age of Extinction Last Night Optimus Prime. This is a very movie-accurate sculpt with a highly detailed paint job. Shows a very, very articulated figure that, for the most part, doesn't look like it transforms until you see it's got a little bit of arm kibble, and you can kind of see the truck grill on the inside of the backpack. But I did some research and saw some prototype images of the truck mode. It's quite panelly, but ho-hum. It comes with a sword and a shield. The sword he pulled from a stone. The shield he pulled from his ass. Kind of wish it came with that big buster gun thing he had.
The which one?
The one, like, for the first half of the... No, for almost all the movie, Optimus just has this big cannon thing that he is pointing at everyone during Age of Extinction.
I'm trying to remember it.
And then after he pulls out the sword, that disappears, and suddenly he has a shield with a gun in it.
It transformed, Mikey.
Yeah, again, I always said, like, what is the most characterful thing this guy did? I came up with this defensive weapon, and I put bullets on it.
I mean, it works, you know?
Yeah, give me your face.
Yeah.
This is a highly detailed figure. Not the only one of these coming out. Unique Toys a couple of weeks ago showed off their one as well. Like the Unique Toys one, he's got a few upper body proportion issues just because they have to cram a whole truck mode in there. And by the looks of it, they really do in this case, because I can't see anywhere on his legs for really tires to go unless it's under some panels or something like that. He scales about Masterpiece scale, maybe. I think they have him next to Masterpiece Bumblebee. I think he's too tall next to him.
I would agree, yeah. Bumblebee comes up to about his groin, or just above his groin. Yeah, he's
basically... Yeah, and he's not that short in the movies.
No, I didn't think so. I was wondering that when I looked at the pictures.
He's maybe under the pec plate.
Yeah.
Which is still short, but he's not that short. I've got to say, like, I do like the Age of Extinction Last Night design. It doesn't look like a Transformer, but I like it. Like, as a IRA robot, super robot kind of thing. I dig this aesthetically. I don't think I'd ever buy it because it's Murder Prime, and the only Murder Prime toy I want is one that comes with a bunch of severed heads. But I think the engineering looks absolutely insane. The paint job looks excellent. He's going to come with multiple faces. He's highly articulated. It's hard for me to find anything to complain about in this guy. What's your thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks good. It looks like this might be the best version of Prime to be coming out, or to come out in the future. But, you know, who knows if a good official one will come at some point. These are the same guys that did the Dino, isn't it? Aren't they?
Yeah.
So as long as the quality is good, you know, yeah, go for it, I suppose. I think the paint that they've used on him is nice and metallic, so that it really kind of shows off that kind of high-quality third-party pop, rather than just, say, your standard, bog-standard Hasbro plastic color. No diss on Hasbro, but, you know, when you've got the money to slap on some fancy metallic paint, you know, you go and you do that, really. Yeah.
Plus, when it chips, it'll be all movie accurate and stuff.
That's true. It's not
Which
for
I
me.
never got, I have to admit.
Not for me. I wouldn't ever want it. But that's just an aesthetic thing, and because I'm not a big fan of the movies. If you do, this might be a perfect thing for you, the person.
Yeah, I think it's neat. I think it's very neat. I wouldn't buy it, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like I want to see it transform, because the engineering behind that must be absolutely madness.
Are they the guys that are doing the lockdown as well, or is that a different?
That's Unique Toys as well. Unique Toy. Basically, we're now entering the phase where movie toys are getting mass attention.
They're the in thing.
I think they will be. So we've got two Optimuses, we've got Dino, and we've got Lockdown. And at SGC, we had prototypes for a Brawl and a Ratchet, although apparently both of those are probably not transforming.
Right.
Which, you know, madness, cats living in cows, horses eating your wife. Oh my god, insanity ensuing.
And we know, of course, that the main company is Hasbro and Takara doing new, maybe Masterpiece Voyager leader scale versions of dudes, like the Grimlock and the Blackout. So, yeah, the movie's got its time in the spotlight, which I suppose it probably should do, as it's been 10 years, so...
Yeah, and I'm still interested in that line. Very curious to see how it goes. And from what I understand, the Masterpiece Optimus and the Bumblebee are both pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfect, but pretty good, so... yeah, anything you want to add?
No, I don't think so. Shall I take us on, then?
Take us on.
Fiendish Dr. Wu busts in once more after it feels again like a long hiatus via stuff coming up on the Weibo page, as they show some teaser images of a kit that are in the work at the moment. There's one for Masterpiece Megatron, an upgrade kit for that, as well as a display base, which you can start doing stuff with. So the first one has an ID code of the DWP38. It was recently shown at TFCon, but we didn't obviously see it in the slides as far as I'm aware. It features a sword. I think the sword's kind of reminiscent of Fall of Cybertron, for Cybertron. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It also comes with a reflector and binoculars. Is that what they're meant to be?
Yeah, space binoculars.
Space binoculars, because I'm sure he used them at one point. I can't remember when, though.
Astro Train's needs glasses, so...
These are for him more so than anyone else.
It's just Megatron actually has terrible eyesight. And he's just like, he's stolen... this is it. Megatron has terrible eyesight, but he's stolen Astro Trains. And now Astro Train just keeps bumping into everything, and Megatron's being a real dick about it.
It'd be so sad.
It's like...
I don't like that. This comes in two flavors. The sword comes with a grey hilt and a silver blade, and the binoculars come in silver with black highlights and a blue visor, and the reflector is just, well, your standard reflector color. The other set is the handle for the sword, or the hilt for the sword, is black. The blade is purple. For the binoculars, the little bit that was blue before, the little visor part is now purple as well, and reflector seems to be exactly the same. I think the black version looks more visually interesting. If I was going to pick one, I guess that would be the one I'd get. What about you, Mikey?
That was my initial opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But something about the grey blade worked for me. That very particular type of silver. And I think it's contrasted enough with the actual handle that it's surprising how much it pops. I think it's because it looks like it's metallic paint. But in contrast, I think kind of the black and the purple don't really have that same kind of pizzazz. It's weird. It shouldn't... I'm looking at them just like, this is so counterintuitive, but I would go for the grey blade.
Is it because the grey blade works with the color scheme of the Masterpiece Megatron and makes it look like it's more part of the set rather than its own random add-on thing?
Then again, like, he's got purple and black stuff, so...
Not as prominent as the silver, though, or the grey.
True. But, I don't know, it's weird. It doesn't... Maybe you're right, maybe it was just like, if they do a Galvatron, it would be great for him, but...
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Then again, I don't like the idea of giving Galvatron a sword.
Well...
Also, Masterpiece Galvatron, please!
Yeah, well, good luck with that, like I say.
Next G11, please just say you're doing Galvatron. That's all I'm asking. You don't have to do anyone else ever again.
There's an image of Megatron attempting to do the Joker camera comic.
Oh yeah, from All Hail Megatron.
It doesn't work,
and it's not because it's very, very, very far away from his face.
Yeah, the arms just don't have the articulation to get it close to the face to do that. But they attempt it. Apart from that, if you're just having him hold reflector, I guess it looks okay. I'm not sure how well he can hold it if he doesn't have it turned to the side and is letting gravity kind of rest it in his hand. Can he hold it a normal way that you'd use a camera? Because there's no image of that.
Maybe Megatron's gonna be a paparazzi.
Maybe.
They don't hold cameras normally.
That's true. They hold them in that weird kind of way. The base, there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of stuff to talk about for the base. It features some interchangeable pieces. It says specifically the second kit features a series of interchangeable grey panels, 6 per set, and in operational claw. And the only images we have of it are the 6 panels kind of slapped together, and Masterpiece Bumblebee standing inside of it, and it looks fine, I guess. I guess this is their kind of version of, the Gundam hanger thing, which like 95% of YouTube reviewers use for a huge amount of time, and some people still do.
Yeah.
It kind of feels to me like the Doctor Wu equivalent of that. What do you think of this one, this little set then, Mikey? Does it do it for you? Because it's not super interesting. It is just...
I am pretty underwhelmed.
It is literally just 6 panels stuck together. It is that.
And a claw that looks like it's going to be really in the way if you actually use it for posing.
Yeah.
Like the way it's sculpted. And like that kind of sculpting as well, I don't see it holding on very well.
No.
Like, the thing is, right, I'm looking at this. This could be something awesome. Say you went with a, what do they call, Sentinel type stand, right? So they've got this big base, and they've got 4, 5, 6 arm points.
Right.
You've got articulated arms for all of them. The arms can come off. They've got pegs, everything else. Really good quality, really strong ratchets, or really tight screws or whatever. I would love to see that, because something I would love to do is a really dynamic, decent-sized little display of 2 or 3 toys in an action scene together, where you're not trying to worry about the arm losing its balance because the base isn't wide enough.
Sure.
Because I've got Figma stands, say, and they're cool, but try using them for anything other than holding your figure up. It ain't gonna go well.
No.
Tamashii Nations do their own stuff. Tamashii stands, they're much better at it, but still, when you've got a transformer or something like that, the weight and the center of gravity and everything else, it's all over the place in comparison to most figures. So it's much easier for them to tip over. I would love a good, solid, decent-sized base with all these arms, different attachments, however you want to use them, just to make something dynamic. This is just, we're doing the Optimus trailer, so you can do, look, it's a repair bay, and then it's a bunch of grey slabs that you can flatten out with 1 arm, really? I would expect at least 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, I am really underwhelmed by this part of it. I'm way more critical than I was expecting to be. Just, yeah.
It is weird to be super critical about bases. Is it any better than the stuff we've had so far?
In terms of like displays, I don't think it's better.
It just looks like it's another one, It's thinner. It's not as thick like some of the other ones we've seen. Look thicker, for better or for worse, I suppose. So I don't know.
I'd say the other ones are a lot more dynamic because they're trying to replicate scenes.
Yeah, because you've got the orange. I can't remember the companies that do this, so you have to. I have to apologize. But you've got the yellow ones that then go into a Teletran 2 for the Arc, and the purple ones. I don't think they've ever done like a Nemesis computer though, have they?
Yeah, no, there is.
You
can go out. I've seen because there's different variants over the years. I've seen a Nemesis one. I've seen an Arc one. I've seen ones that do backdrops.
Right. Okay.
Like they were taken out of the backdrops of the G1 cartoon. This is pretty underwhelming.
Yeah.
This works if you're doing a Gundam thing because, hey, it's a minimalistic military base where this thing is in holding for maintenance or about to be piloted or a nave or whatever, It works for a piloted mech.
Yeah.
As a display option. For a Transformer, doesn't. In fact, I've never even liked the repair bay for the same reason. With the Optimus trailer, because it doesn't look like it. Because what Transformer is being operated on standing up in the corner?
The best kind.
Just like, I will not move. Why? Because my doctor told me not to.
That's right.
And so it makes a lot more sense when it's an inanimate object mounted in the corner than when it's a person who's just like, can I lie down, Ratchet? I can't feel my legs. No, I've propped you up and you will stay propped up. This is medical science, damn it.
I guess
I need to see where you're leaking.
I guess the one thing that could save this or make this a little bit better is if, like, the price, depending on how expensive it is versus, say, like, I mentioned before, the Bandai, like, hanger stuff. How do they compare price-wise? If this is better price-wise, okay, sure. If it's the same, Yeah, if it's more, ooh, definitely not. Definitely not.
If it's cheaper and you can buy 2 or 3, go for it and build something for your Gundams. Because
Sure.
I think that claw certainly would work in a Gundam display.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted like one holding each arm or something like that. But for a Transformer thing, I can't think of anything fictionally I would want to show.
Even for Gundam though, like if you're buying it for Gundam stuff, the hanger ones have much more options to them. Like the variety of accessory pieces you can buy for those hangers, or the variations of the hanger stuff, it's much deeper and more interesting than this currently is at the moment. So who knows? Who knows? The Megatron set, much more interesting. Not super essential, but that's, I guess, what an upgrade kit is for. Maybe, I mean, Megatron does come with a stupid little transmitter hat thing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe this reflector is like one of the few things he used that he was missing. So, if you want it, cool. If you don't, that's okay too. Mikey, do you want to take us on to some Japanese news?
Yeah, first up, we have some news on Grand Maximus. Now, I believe last week we announced that we had hit the 2,000 pre-order requirement to get this figure made.
Sounds about right.
Yep, so we are getting a Grand Maximus. All we need now is Great Maximus. Is that his name? R.A.D.?
No, Brave.
Brave.
Yeah.
Brave Maximus. We basically need a variant of him to get the whole kit and caboodle, because I can't think of any other Fortress repaints.
No, I don't think there were any. I think we only had the 3.
Probably a Shattered Glass one out there as well.
No.
No. But all is not well in the land of Japan because, and I have to admit, I am personally disappointed in you, Wayne. We did not hit the 3,000 pre-orders required for the Prime Master Pretender suit. One of the key things about Gran, because he's a Pretender headmaster. I'm not angry. I am disappointed.
Yeah, it's Wayne's fault. It was literally on Wayne's shoulders, and he dropped the ball yet again.
And he was even talking to me during the week, and he was just like, "Listen, you can't put this on me. You can't put this on me." And I'm just like, "I can put it on you, Wayne. I can, and I do."
Who else's fault would it be, though?
Yeah, name one person. I can't.
Exactly.
I can't think of anyone else except Wayne.
Yep. Damn it, Wayne.
So, yeah, unless someone at Takara decides towards the end, for the hell of it, to throw this thing in, I'm assuming it was just a gimmick to try and get a bit more of the pre-orders in. So
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna hope, because Takara does tend to be run by cool dudes. So I'm going to gonna hope that someone at Takara sits down and says, "Yeah, we'll do it. We'll throw him in. It'll be grand." It'll be grand. Irish joke.
No, bad Mikey.
Yeah, but can I just say, for the love of all that is holy, think before you copy from Twitter. Oh my god. LGEX Grand Maximus's reservation has ended. We did not reach a target number attached to the bonus Grand Printer Tender suit.
What?
But we decided to commercialize it at 2,000 over. Thank you. You're copying this and then you're putting it on a website on the topic where we know what the word is. You don't have to copy paste. You can fill in the gaps. You can do that little square bracket thing for an indirect quote if you want to be super, super, show I have changed this. But Grand Printer Tender.
I mean, that's right.
What's a Grand Printer Tender? Is he a man who minds your highly expensive printing devices? Is he the one keeping Aaron away from the 3D printers?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just standing there with a stick, waving it at him every time he sort of sneaks over and goes, "Can I make a jet engine?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds
comes over
legit.
Comes over with these plans. Look, if I build this, right, the rotors, they spin, and it generates lift that way, and the Printer Tender is just like, pshaw with your magic.
Magic!
But it's helical. Cop out is what it is.
Dear me.
Yeah.
Mikey doth not approve. Is that what you tell me? Mikey doth not approve.
No, Mikey is just like, for fuck's sake. If you're listening, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the system, but I'm also mad at you. Oh, dear. There's not much to say about this. I just think it's super cool. We're getting a Grand Maximus, and he's going to be at least, relatively regular retail release.
Yeah.
relatively.
Yeah.
Like, made to order, but made to order such that come one, come all. There was no limit. There was no cut-off point on this. So, if anything, they wanted you to keep on coming in at all angles. So, I think this is super cool. I like Grand Maximus. He's boring as hell, but everyone was in Master Force.
Yay.
I like the show. But you can't say most of the Transformers were interesting characters.
No.
Except Lander.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah. But anything you'd like to add, Andy?
No, I don't think so. Because I'm not going to be buying it because, money and crazy expensive shipping. Holy crap, shipping. No, I'm all right.
Shipping.
No shipping.
There. Maybe you could go through Amazon Japan.
Maybe. It depends if they could ship to the UK or not. Because not everything is shippable from there, it seems.
Yes, but also, why did you share that?
Because I'm helping people.
Don't help people, Andy. Stop helping people. No one wants help.
I'm helping you specifically.
Ugh.
Because
anyway. Fuck you, friend. Fuck you about it. But yeah, so the other bit of Japanese news is that we had 3 figures released this week, which means we had 3 comics.
Yay!
And oh my god, the internet was aflame.
In a good way?
About a couple of... In a like, what the fuck Japan way.
Excellent.
Because a couple of these panels are just like, oh, tickled me pink. Now, again, unfortunately, no one, as far as I know, has done a full translation, but I have been able to get sort of summaries of what's going on. So first up, we have Kickback, and is it just Kickback's one? It is just Kickback. Kickback and Clouder. So this is basically the Insecticons are off using their clones, as they do. Skids and Screech, I believe Screech is an E-Hobby character, show up to basically stop them because they've got robot insecticide. And then Blowpipe shows up. And he's got a cloning ability, which he uses to clone the Insecticons. Who then proceed to eat the clothes off of every woman within a 1,000-mile radius.
So... Blowpipe is not a girl that transforms into Blowpipe.
I think possibly with the name Blowpipe, that may have been pushing it a bit.
So are we to assume then that the Decepticon target masters are just robots, and it's only the Autobot ones that transform from girls?
Right now I am assuming that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But eating all the clothes off of all the women. And... let's see, Xiao Xiao, of course, because that is her lot in life.
Totally legal, Xiao Xiao.
Totally legal. It's completely fine now, yeah. Xiao Xiao, as Hot Rod looks on, almost uninterested in what's going on, as she is literally running, screaming for the hills. Minerva, I'm assuming that's regular Minerva.
I think so, yeah. She's not wearing the crazy top hat, so...
She's down to her underwear, and Tai, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, no change with Tai.
But the best bit is Chromio, Windblade, and RC. RC is covering up her shame. She's literally got her arm in the cover your groin, cover your boobs pose. And it's just like, you're a robot, you don't wear clothes. She's probably like, she's got one outfit that's an apron or something, I'm sure, so. It's probably like disappeared. Like, oh my god. And Chromia as well. Oh my god, it's hilarious. So, anyway, as this very specific riot calls out, Mayor Megatron, because Megatron is the hero of this story, decides to call in help with getting Major Clouder, who didn't get murdered by Trypticon. And shows up with his bunch of drones, which are basically tankors and black convoys. And he is, being swarmed by Insecticons, but because he's not wearing his, sensual garments, he can't be removed. Clouder decides to sort of get in the way. He contacts Wheeljack. He gets hold of a drone. He joins with it. He somehow gets a combiner gun. And he freezes Kickback in place, allowing the Autobots to revert the transformed citizens to normal and recover Blowpipe. Because apparently they were trying to change people into Insecticons. After being thanked by Megatron, Clouder returns to his true masters, Giga and Mega.
Yay!
That's not set up for anything.
No, of course not. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Who praise him for earning Megatron's trust and providing them with information about the Legends world. And apparently they do refer to him as Double Clouder, and you never know whose side he's on.
Oh.
Can I just say, we're in a world where Megatron is being deceived for doing a good deed. Oh man. Andy, what did you think of this one?
I enjoy Skids shooting bug spray at Insecticons. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I like the hint at Mega and Giga as well. That's always a plus.
Yeah. Sure hope they're not getting the toy.
Who can say?
Who can say? And it's like, didn't Clouder turn good?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I think
it doesn't matter.
I think he did. The next
technically
one
he died.
is...
He was killed by Trypticon, wasn't he?
No, I mean in Master Force.
Oh, in Master Force. Yeah, he was evil, then he was good.
Yeah, because he fancied Minerva, didn't he?
Well, most of the kids
Everyone
did.
did.
Yeah.
No, like wise people fancied Mega.
Yeah.
Like because it was uncomfortable sometimes. Her and Cancer. There's never a sentence that ends well when you say it's uncomfortable. Mega and Cancer.
Mm-hmm. No, yes.
That's not a good sentence in any way.
But true
Like,
fans
no one
fancied
said that.
Wilder.
Oh God, yeah.
Real fans.
Wilder's amazing. Wilder's amazing.
He's a bad boy that you want to turn good.
Damn straight. I can fix him, Andy. I can fix him.
I will fix him. Not I can. I will.
Oh, dear.
Wild
But,
for life. We'll see about that.
This gets better.
It
Can I
does.
just say, Sakamoto, I love this man.
Yeah.
And I am still trying to pay him for that bloody gift for you from last year, by the way. That man is impossible to track down, and he's not comfortable with PayPal. So, like, and my intermediary only talks to him every now and then. So I'm just like, for God's sake, just let me give you money. Like, people paid for this.
Yes. Let me
Like,
give
I
you the
haven't-
monies.
I'm just saying, like, I didn't spend the money people gave me for him, for the Andy present. It's still there. I made sure it was still there.
I mean, Mikey did use it on Hookers and Blow at one point, but then he reacquired the money.
Yeah, but it turned out hookers actually were very good at keeping receipts, so it allowed me to reimburse myself for tax reasons. But so I'm just saying, Sakamoto's a wonderful man, and I wish he was a bit more money hungry right now. I'm just saying, just be more greedy, please. Anyway, moving on, we've got Bronze One, which is a comedic romp of him and Repugnus. So Braun has made enough money from working in construction to get his old body back, and he's been living with Repugnus apparently. And apparently, Repugnus has found out that the body is just a mech suit.
That's awesome.
Braun can't turn back from being a headmaster. So he's going to have a mech suit. And the only reason he's bothered getting the mech suit is because he's met Celia.
And who is that, Mikey? For those that do
Celia
not know.
is the female Seacon from Beast Wars 2nd. She is amazing. The full series of Beast Wars 2nd is subbed up on YouTube, and I recommend you check out anything with the Seacons because they're amazing.
She, for those not aware, she's the repaint of Tentakill.
Yeah. Yes, she's Tentakill, and her entire thing is that she is boy crazy. To the point where she will, while combined, if she's in a huff over boys, will leave the combiner, leaving God Neptune with one leg gone.
I mean, doesn't that just sum up all Transformer girl fans? Am I right,
obviously.
Lads?
Yeah.
I wonder how many
We hear it.
people
We here at
are
Moonbase
angry.
to respect all people of all genders, nations, and creeds.
Except Mikey.
Except Mikey. And Wayne.
Especially Wayne.
But, yeah. So Celia likes larger men.
Oh, she likes
She's a
big
feeder.
boys.
She likes the bears. Barras. She likes the barras. There. That's the term I learned. She likes the barras, and but she can't. Braun couldn't make enough money to get a proper transector, so he made a mech suit instead. So he goes out on his date. Braun gets sick, and oh my God, I can't have her not go on this date. Oh God, what? Repugnus, you're my friend. You're my buddy. You're my pal. Get inside me. Repugnus kind of hesitantly becomes Braun's stand-in. Apparently Braun guilts him into him saying, like, I haven't actually made you pay rent. So Repugnus goes and leaves destruction in his wake because he has no fucking idea what he's doing. Celia requests he transform to sort of go like, what's going on? And he barely manages, thanks to phone contact with Braun, because he had no idea what he's doing, only for the ruse to be up anyway when Celia, wanting to ride the car mode, opens the cockpit and sees Repugnus inside. And remember, this is Celia, the tiny Beat Legends universe version of her as well. So it's like a human-sized, adorable version of her.
Well, a human-sized giant octopus.
Yep. She then kicks Repugnus out, drives Braun back to the apartment, transforms Braun, and chases them down, screaming, "What the hell, man?"
This was a really good little comic.
It's amazing. Braun's such a dick.
Celia is great. I love the fact that at the end it reminds me of Dr. Robotnik, because she's got her little tentacles wrapped around the two giant levers. Because, of course, that's how you pilot it. There are two giant levers and a steering wheel.
The best one is the best panel is after she flips open the hood to reveal Repugnus, and you just have this completely black panel with just the Braun alt mode, Repugnus, and Celia, and Celia's just blue.
Yes.
And I think that's a reference to the Squid Girl anime. I'd have to double check Ika something. But it's just this wonderful, you can hear the awkward silence.
While Repugnus is piloting Braun, does he accidentally shoot Tigatron?
Let's see. Yes, he does.
Yeah, as Tigatron's got his glasses flying off to the side going, ah!
I think is that Rat Trap flying off? No, is that Tiger Hawk.
Which one? Oh,
the one on the left.
I didn't even see that one. Maybe?
I think that's Tiger Hawk. And also, oh my god, the head's spinning and he's trying to wave.
Yep. I like the fact that the way that you enter the mech suit in robot mode is there's a little ladder that comes out the back of him.
Yep.
That's very cute.
I want to know how they met, him and Celia. I mean,
there's probably like a Transformers grinder on the Legends world.
He just like had the old picture of himself that he never updated once he became a headmaster, and he just like she thinks I look like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear. Well, Andy, let's move on to the continuing adventures of Blowpipe.
Ooh.
So basically, while in custody, Blowpipe began emitting dangerous amounts of plasma energy that destroys inorganic substances, leading to two different references. One to Kiss Players, which is basically everyone gets naked! And I'd just like to point out, Xiao Xiao is once again at the center of this, screaming at Hot Rod, who's clearly having the time of his life.
Well, the padlock around her neck doesn't dissolve, so that's something.
Yep, she gets still to remain in indentured slavery. Yep. Like, how joining that super international secret spy agency work out for you there, Xiao Xiao?
It's been worse for her, to be fair, in the past. It's been a lot worse for her.
It has been much worse.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, you still can't really tell much of a difference with Ty's outfit.
No.
But in another reference, half of Ravage is gone.
Yeah.
That's awkward. Why? Of all the things to reference in this, why reference the comic where Ravage is dying in half? Why is that the thing you go, I need to remind people this happened? Because everyone took that so well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ravage becomes the voice of everything, and he basically says that the only one who can stop Blowpipe is Trigger Happy. Trigger Happy is running a shooting gallery to earn money to get a transector. But his business is going poorly because whenever someone misses, he basically goes in and shoots for them.
Yes, because he's like a mafia gangster, Yakuza kind of, I've got two Tommy guns, and he wears a tie and a trilby? Is that what it is?
Yep.
It's great.
What basically happens is, come one, come all, they miss, and he can't help but pick up the gun, hit all the targets, and win them the prize and give them the prize. He's not making any money.
Who is the character that he helps win this for? Because it looks like Pikachu, but in a wrestling mask.
I don't know. It might actually be a Pikachu in a wrestling mask, because I know that's a thing.
Okay.
That is actually a thing. But I'm just like, Trigger Happy is making no money because he's a gun nut.
Yeah, well,
I feel like that's very important in the modern day.
That makes sense, because I mean, in the G1 cartoon when he popped up, he was all about just randomly shooting everything. So, I mean, it's his name, so I'm okay with this. I'm okay with it. I really hope he speaks with a gangster kind of twang.
Oh man, Yakuza,
Yep.
full Yakuza.
Yes. Oh yeah, Yakuza boss.
So yeah, Blowpipe is continuing to be a dick, and is basically nudifying another woman who it turns out is Papika, who is from a very specific episode of Headmasters, because I think it's one where everyone loves nature.
Huh.
Andy,
Yes.
I'm just going to share, this is Papika's TF Wiki page, which I opened while I was reading this.
I also know who would voice Trigger Happy if he was part of a
Who?
Japanese series. If while you're sending this to me, I could see him being voiced by the guy that plays Momo-chan from Deno, Kamen Rider Deno.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Oh, it's this
Yeah,
girl.
I can see
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so... Yeah,
Yeah, so it's just Tarzan effectively.
yeah,
Lady
it's
Tarzan.
sexy Lady Tarzan in pink.
Yeah, yeah.
In space. It's sexy pink Lady Tarzan from space. So basically, Hot Rod, Hot Rod who couldn't even buy himself a suit, goes up to Trigger Happy, tells him everything's going to hell. He's saying Trigger Happy can't do anything without Transector, so Hot Rod gives him one. Because now he's with the police and he just gives these things away to people. Blowpipe basically continues to try to nudify everyone. Trigger Happy shoots him. And upon getting him back, he immediately tries to shoot everyone else. But the beam he's shooting instead ends up restoring everything Blowpipe destroyed, including Ravage's body. Apparently he didn't actually mean to. Unsure what to do with him, Hot Rod and Xiao Xiao end up inducting Trigger Happy into the police force so they can keep an eye... Because that's the guy you want around.
Oh dear.
Who, when given a gun, the first thing he does is try to kill you. And accidentally regrows a body. And ties clothes. So Trigger Happy is just like super happy about all this, because now he can legally shoot people. Though he ends up causing trouble by always going in guns blazing during delicate hostage situations.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh, these things are a fucking joy.
And I see that Tigatron is once again being zapped.
Yeah. Oh man.
I like these things.
Oh,
They're
man.
still good.
Oh, they're so good. There were 49 comics into this.
Wow, really? Jeez.
Someone collect these. Like, I've tried to do up a list of all the translated ones, but it's hard to keep track of everything.
And the
So
web
if
specials as well, if you remember as well. They were only on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
web.
So if people have a complete list of the translated ones, please put it on our Facebook page. Not kidding. I want a resource where everyone can go to and read these, not just us.
I've never seen all of them translated. I've seen just random ones here and there that have been translated, and they were pretty consistent at one point, but then they just stopped doing them again.
Someone was doing it a month or two ago. I can't remember his name. I'll try and find out who he was, because he needs to keep doing it. But just if someone can use our Facebook page as a resource to just show an image or link or something which has the translated stuff on there, I will be eternally grateful, because these are amazing and insane, absolutely batshit insane.
Yeah,
and I kind of love it. Oh dear, Andy.
Yes.
Take us on before my voice goes.
Sure. It's not a very big story here. We've just got some inbox images of Power of the Primes, Voyager class Starscream, and I think a little bit of once again a nod in the future of potentially some bad stuff happening with these toys. I think as we see Starscream in vehicle mode, and it's not inherently the vehicle mode that's the problem here. It's the amount of stickers that appear to be on the toy. All of the wing detail for Starscream, which are the red line, that goes across his wing. There's extra detail. And the Decepticon insignia, these are split into effectively 3 fairly big stickers. Then the red part connected to the wing, whatever you want to call that part. Back and front, so in robot mode, he's got a sticker there as well. So let's count these stickers. 1, 2, 3, 4... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Maybe 12 or 13 stickers for this guy.
Mm.
That's a fair amount of stickers. And from what I
Yeah.
hear, the people that had the Megatron tank thing, they're not very good stickers. I've heard no one say anything good about the
No,
stickers on
They're
these
quite
figures.
bad. I seem to have gotten really lucky with my Megatron tank stickers, but
Yeah.
they've lived.
Would you say that, like, on the Megatron, though, they're not super necessary?
No, they're not. And, I wouldn't... The only ones that you really have to worry about are the ones in his wings,
Yeah.
because his wings do a lot of transforming, but...
The thing is,
Like-
here, I'd say that these stickers are more necessary than what I think that the Megatron ones were.
Well, without them, the pylons lose all detail, and there's nothing on the wings, there's nothing on the feet, there's
Yeah.
nothing on the knees. Like, guys, come on. It makes him look cheap.
Yeah, it's making me really think that there's some kind of
And-
conspiracy that Hasbro is funneling people to repro labels or toy hacks.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, this design, I actually kind of like it, but it is one that is controversial. It does not need to be made look cheap.
Yeah, agreed.
You want to sell this.
Well, you'd think so.
Mm.
Just wait for the Japanese version, as I always tend
Yeah.
to say, but
Which will probably be Leo Zach if there's any justice in the world.
I would have thought if they do that, they wouldn't sell it separately. They'd sell it as a box set or something.
That'll do.
Yeah. He comes with the big feet, and the big feet just kind of tab onto his shoulders, so he's just got random shoulder pads. And it looks like he comes with some sort of Prime Master as well.
They come with a little fill-in one, I know that. It's
Yeah.
not one of the actual Prime Masters, but they all come with like a fill-in thing.
It's a something.
In their combine mode, those form like an internal matrix.
Oh, right,
for the
that's
combiners.
right. Yeah,
So-
of course.
Because
So it's whatever
we've
that
seen
is.
that in the design sketches for Alita and Menasor.
Yeah.
Not Menasor, Abominus. So
And it has the prices of each of them in RM, whatever that has to be. But it's
not a clue.
No, it's 89.90 each, 94.90, and then in brackets EM, and then it's got Generations Prime Deluxe Class figures. This seems to be from Toys R Us. They've got the Toys R Us R logo. Then it's got the 2 liters for 249.90 each, and then 262.90 EM. Again, whatever that happens to mean, and once again, kind of confirming that December is going to be when these things pop up. Whether they do for us here in the UK is a different matter. That's always a bit of a gamble. Whether they appear here at that point, or maybe December or late December, who knows?
I'd be surprised if they didn't show up in time for Christmas. I have to
Yeah.
admit, just because of the market thing. But
Agreed. I would have thought because it's the first wave of a line, they'll probably try and get them out when, globally or globally-ish, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, it's not too long until Power of the Prime set, so if you don't have, Trigger Happy? Not Trigger Happy, Slug Slinger. Oh, oh dear. Oh,
get going,
dear.
guys.
Mr. Tricky was telling me in the conversation last night, or asking me if I thought that wave would hit B&M or like the discount stores, and I was like, maybe not, because for me at least, B&M didn't really have a huge amount of the Combiner Wars figures. They only really had like Silverbolt, none of the rest of that wave, oddly enough. None of and the only other full wave that they have, at least for deluxes, was what were they called? The one with Hound and Wheeljack, that wave, and that was it. So whether they get a Slug Slinger or not, I wouldn't count on it personally. So you might need to pay those inflated eBay prices or web prices for them, unfortunately. Mikey, do you want to tell me about comics? Because we've had a proper reveal, I think, right?
Although I have to admit, what I'm currently looking at is a link from that reveal that is pissing me off. The secret goal of Overwatch's animated shorts. I thought the secret goal of Overwatch's animated shorts was to enrage me. But, sorry, I had a moment during the week. For anyone who doesn't know, I have a thing about the Overwatch shorts, rather, and the Overwatch game, which is basically, wow, those two things look great on their own. If only they were in the same fucking thing. But anyway, so IGN, just to get off that before another rant happens, and I get another 4 or 5 messages telling me to grow up. It happens. IGN did an interview with David Hedgecock of IDW. He's the editor-in-chief, and he shed a little bit of light on the upcoming Transformers event for 2018. At spoilers for First Strike, but it kind of has to be said to mention it here. For slight preview for our Christmas special, First Strike, a surprisingly enjoyable crossover whose last issue was completely hijacked by setup for 2 other books. Completely hijacked for setup for 2 other books. Like that. Oh dear, that last issue was well written editorial.
Oh no,
and I do not blame anyone involved except the editors. I blame them, but do not blame anyone involved, or at least the higher ups. But anyway, so at the end, they tease the arrival of Unicron. We get to see the Chaos Bringer for the first time in IDW because basically Primus shoots him, for want of a better term, or Cybertron shoots him because we don't know if Primus exists. Blah blah blah. So IGN asked him a couple of questions regarding this, and there's really 2 major reveals from this. Well, one, apparently Unicron's been in the running for years and is not in response to the last night, which they emphasize a couple of times. But first off, this is not a Hasbro Universe event. Right? This will not be Transformers, G.I. Joe, Visionaries, ROM, Micronauts, Action Man, Revolutionaries, all up against Unicron. This is a Transformers-specific event that will be carried out in the pages of Optimus Prime and Lost Light.
Oh, okay.
We don't know when it's going to come up. Story taking place in Cybertron will carry the Unicron story forward more than any other in the first few months of 2018. In January, Optimus Prime and Lost Light will both start new story arcs that literally begin to pay off years and years worth of stories. Presumably to basically free up some space so they can spend at least half the year going over this. Because it sounds like they're going to pull a Dark Cybertron in terms of structure, which I am more confident about these days now they've actually, figured out how to do that structure.
Never believe in things, Mikey. What have I told you?
Interesting Hedgecock comments here. I just read a review on First Strike 6 where the reviewer was disappointed by all the spoilers that came out in advance of the ending. So I'm reluctant to say more about what we are doing here for that reason. Also the fact that the spoilers basically said, hey, let's basically shill another book. The other interesting thing to come out of this is what is the impact this is going to have in the Hasbro universe, the Hasbro shared universe. I think the Hasbro shared universe, if it's not going away, there's going to be a lot of let's all look this way and pretend we forgot about it. First Strike was our chance to really explore what it meant for all these different properties to inhabit the same universe. Coming out of the event, the titles are all going to focus on their own stories for a while. The Transformers titles in particular are going to focus on just Transformers characters for a good long time. While we've created some interesting mashups for the new season of stories, those mashups in and of themselves are enough. In 2018, each book will be separate and distinct, and we are not expecting much crossover. I find that very interesting. Because most of the Hasbro books, most of the Hasbro books have been rebooted now.
Have they?
Yeah, Optimus Prime and Lost Light, both reboots of RID and More Than Meets the Eye.
Yes.
Now, they got rebooted when the Hasbro universe came in. ROM is ending and is being having a soft reboot into ROM and Micronauts, along with Micronauts. Both stories which ended very clearly not when their stories were finished. I read a final issue of ROM this week, and it's very much not resolving most of the big plot points that were brought up. G.I. Joe and Mask both over. Mask, not sad to see it go, and being merged into Scarlet Strike Force.
Right.
Although I can see a reason why they're calling it that and why it's not going to be G.I. Joe, based on some stuff in First Strike. And Transformers moving off on its own with at least 2 books, and Transformers versus Visionaries as well. I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I don't think the Hasbro universe went as well in terms of marketing and stuff as they hoped. Despite the fact that most of the books are pretty good, it has to be said. Yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting they want to move away from that. It's very, very rare these days. There was something in there I wanted to... The fact, though, they said Transformers, it's going to focus on Transformers characters, and we're not going to see much crossover. There are some things they've set up which they kind of can't avoid.
Like what?
Well,
Well,
for instance,
without spoilers, if possible.
Skywarp is part of G.I. Joe.
Right. Okay. Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
And it's been confirmed that Skywarp is going to be one of the starring characters of Scarlet Strike Force.
Right. So do you think
So-
he's just going to drop G.I. Joe?
He's staying around at least for a while, and G.I. Joe is very much written with him fully integrated into the team. Like, he's not being the bad guy in the team. He's just the dickhead on the team.
Hmm.
And they've actually, like, got him a friendship and, like, relationships and crap.
Relationships and crap.
He's not happy about it. He would be the first one to describe it as relationships and crap.
Mm-hmm.
But I could honestly see Skywarp being in this, and maybe very rarely a Transformer comes in, like Thundercracker comes in or something like that. Like, I would have Thundercracker, in all seriousness, be the big link. Like, he's the easiest character to move around in any of the books.
Yeah.
Because he's completely disconnected from any of the major groups. He's his own thing. He's one of the only characters who's his own thing. I would honestly say, if you want to do crossovers, he'd be the perfect one to use. And Marissa is tied to him, and she's tied to the Earth's member of the council and everything else. So I'm very curious. I'm very, very curious what this means in the long term. The thing is, I would actually be kind of sad to see the Hasbro universe go away.
Oh.
Because I think it's been quite creatively fruitful.
Right.
And to be honest, in terms of crossovers, you and I are quite critical of crossovers in general.
A tad, I think. Yes.
Compared to, like, anything we've gotten, any major crossover we've gotten out of Marvel and DC, with a possible exception of the one with the kaiju, which turned out to be rather well written.
Yeah.
Monsters Unleashed last year. They kind of kicked the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we weren't overly kind to Revolution, which probably says something about the standard of crossovers, but still, I think that they made it work. Again, having Transformers as like the tentpole and everything else working around it, I think was a very strong move. And as we move forward, First Strike then shook that up a bit by making Scarlet the tentpole and moving on. I think there's stuff to be done. Like, there is easily a ROM-centric story to be told. I'm not talking like ROM versus Transformers, which isn't really about ROM or the Transformers.
Yeah.
It's about one character. But what I mean is, like, a story where ROM and the Dire Wraiths or something takes center stage with him as the pillar for everything.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. That could work, I suppose.
Yeah, and I mean, Micronauts, you've got the whole there's another universe to be explored kind of thing. Yeah, again, like, the actual Micronauts book is good.
I was very put off every time I read anything Micronauts in Revolutions.
The Revolution
so
stuff was not
bored.
their strongest. That was not their strongest. Acra Year is still amazing, though. I don't know. I wouldn't really want it to go away, but, you know, it's not my choice. Anyway, I'm rambling. Andy, what's your thoughts on this?
It could be interesting. I mean, maybe it's a good idea after all this time to do something like this. So, yeah, It is. I mean, they say it's got nothing to do with the movies, and I believe them. But it is very convenient that the movies just happen to show Unicron, and they just happen to have Unicron in the works. You know what I mean? It's if it wasn't planned, or it's just bad coincidence. Then at that point, I would say, or unfortunate coincidence is probably more apt to say. But, you know, they've held off on Unicron for so long. I don't mind him coming in now, because how long has IDW been going on for now?
11 years.
11,000 years. Yeah, I think that's long enough to hold off on Unicron.
The longest running straight comic run.
Yeah. Did they ever do? They did Unicron in Dreamwave, didn't they?
They were just starting to do Unicron in Dreamwave. Like, they'd been setting him up since the middle of the second arc.
Yeah, I thought so, but they hadn't. They hadn't been going as long as IDW.
He appeared. No, they only went for like 3 years.
God, 3. It must have been 3.
Yeah, and they were setting up Unicron by issue 7.
Right.
Because Scourge showed up.
Right. Okay.
And then they build him up into the sweeps, and then Cyclonus makes an appearance, and then you see Unicron in space at one point, and then you got the Fallen, and like there's a lot of build up to Unicron in Dreamwave.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And he's in Marvel, but he shows up in Marvel at the very end.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm alright with it, I guess. We'll see how it's done. It might be good, might be poo, Roll that dice and hope for the best.
In that case, Andy, take us on.
Yeah, as we got another trailer for Titans Return, the Transformers Machinima series. This time size does matter, as it's another one of those behind the scene things with Adam Beecham and some people who did the stuff and all that jazz, and we get to see more of the show. Does it get you any more hopeful, Mikey? Do you look at it and you're like, oh no, it's still the thing? Is it still the thing?
It's slightly funny at the first scene they open on it, a panning shot of Triptychon, and I can hear the computer dying. I feel it. I hear it.
I think that's because they got the shot from the show and they decided to add a slow-mo to it.
Yeah.
Which is not what you do. It's not something you do with low frame rate, because when you're slowing it down, you're adding in frames.
Yeah. And it looked lower quality as well.
Oh, it did, yeah.
So I'm assuming I shouldn't really be giving him any benefit of the doubt, but I'm assuming that they were not getting the HD rendered version.
I hope so.
Yeah. And on the other hand, there is something I liked, which is the Triptychon Metroplex fight.
Well, the brief point that we see, the way that Adam frames how it's going to be is there's going to be multiple fights.
Yeah, it's basically going to be 10 episodes of fight.
Yeah, and it's no, that won't be the case.
No, there's a lot in here that isn't the case, Adam.
Adam. Oh yeah, what else would you surmise isn't what Adam perhaps is suggesting in this?
This will affect Transformers for a year to come.
that was funny.
Years
I was like, no,
to come.
No,
it won't affect Transformers next year because Power of the Primes will barely reference it.
Yeah, and Power of the Primes are starting in less than a month. Theoretically,
Titans Return less than a month, and this is your advertising.
Yeah, you've got no new things coming out. It will be
character models.
If it's good, if it's really well received and highly praised by the fans, okay, it might have something. I have no idea what, but it would have something. I don't think it will be. I don't even know how well regarded or how well praised it would need to be to have that kind of level of reaction.
It's going to be largely based off the comics again, from what I understand. So,
oh dear,
the comics are going to have effects for years to come.
Yes,
which just means this is an effect. It's not the cause.
Yeah.
But anyway, before I just go off on a rant, because I hate the advertising side of this. Fuck off, FJ DeSanto. I wouldn't trust you to wipe my car down. Adam Beecham, I feel sorry for, because I actually think he knows what he's doing, and he's just sitting there doing what he's told.
They keep giving him shitty projects to work on.
Apparently his comic stuff is pretty good.
Is it? Oh, okay.
But the slower frame rate works fairly well for a kaiju fight.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's all slow motion. Jesus Christ.
Slow motion.
Slow motions with their moustache. There. Play moustache at the end of this. I love that song. But the slower movements and body motions and everything else, it works a bit better. Because one of the things that really killed some of the action in the first show is that they were trying to show people doing action and running and dodging swords and everything else, and you're just like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You won't get away with that. So these kind of slower scale fights might work in their favor. Also, I'm a sucker for giant robot versus Godzilla.
The problem with doing slower scale fights is to make that look good, you need to have more frames than they're clearly willing to put out.
Yep.
That's how they do them Godzilla fights. They have pretty high frame rates, and then they slow that down, so you see more frames. And they're not going to do that here, clearly.
They have artistry and creativity.
Well, I think they've been told that this is how you do it, and they realize that, oh shit, let's make this good. Rather than maybe this is we don't have the money for that because we've spent it all on voice actors. Is always how it feels when we talk about this at this point now.
And what voice actor is Jason David Frank? That's still weird.
It's weird.
He voice acted a lot, but he hasn't voice acted in a lot that requires acting.
Tsuya.
Morphin time. Yeah.
He might be a lovely gentleman, but not a voice actor.
I hear conflicting messages.
Really? Okay.
Some people think he's lovely. Some people think he's a dick.
Very much like our podcast. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. There's one other bit, I suppose, because this was kind of while we're recording, just announced as the Machinima Titans Return trailer has been announced. Get ready, Transformers fans! The trailer for Transformers Titans Return drops in 2 days. Boom, boom, boom.
The show airs in a week.
Boom, boom, boom.
We are a week away from the show.
Boom, boom, boom.
We are a week away from the show.
Isn't this what happened last time we had Combiner Wars? Like, they didn't drop the trailer until a week or a few days beforehand.
Yeah, but they had at least those, like, short setup things.
Did they? I can't remember.
Remember the 4 things where Victorian actually did something?
Oh, those terrible, kind of awful comic-y things.
Where Victorian ended up, like, being really creepy.
Yeah, and we thought, oh man, let's hope the show isn't like this. And then we got something that was, I guess, technically better.
Was it?
Yes.
It looked better.
I was going to say,
speaking.
Remember how those comic things looked, Mikey?
I
remember.
will defend them for having story and character.
Okay, yeah. But they were not
Victorian was way more interesting in that.
Yeah, when she
she was
actually got to do something rather than the few seconds she was in Combiner Wars.
Where she shows up, punches Devastator once, becomes a limb, and then walks off.
Yeah, so by Tuesday, I guess we'll have something, which will then be a week away from when the actual show kicks off.
Yeah, because that's when, if you want to hype people, Go 90 and Machinima don't know how the internet works.
No.
And having continued to learn about Machinima's business practices, they also don't know how morals work.
Boom.
But
statements made. Well, there you go, Mikey. Do you want to take us on to our last bit of news, I suppose?
Well, we got 2. I added
Oh yes, of course.
2 little bits.
Of course.
I'll do the sort of like the original last bit, which is Transformers: Robots in Disguise has ended. The finale aired in the UK on Saturday, the 4th of November. So TFW put up a little statement sort of very quickly detailing some of the history, when the show came out. It's now the longest running show bar Rescue Bots, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. Produced by Hasbro Studios, Derby Pop Productions, animated by Polygon Pictures, who have not only done Transformers Prime, so weird to say that sometimes, but also all the Netflix anime stuff like Knights of Sidonia and the Godzilla.
Okay, so they can't all be good.
Having seen... No, but like having seen Prime, you just sort of like...
What happened?
What happens with Ian Budget? Because you can do better than this.
Knights of Sidonia, holy crap! That was not a pretty show either.
That wasn't a well written show either.
I heard. I think you might have mentioned it to me.
Yeah, very like, hey, Attack on Titans, let's get that Attack on Titan money.
Yeah.
Woo, darkness.
Whoop.
Badly written darkness. Developed by Adam Beecham, poor long-suffering Adam Beecham, Dwayne Kapinski, Jeff Klein, starring Peter Cullen, Will Friedle should be before Peter Cullen, Stuart Allen, Darren Criss, Ted McGinley, Kari Payton, Mitchell Whitfield, Constance Zimmer, and many others. Troy Baker should really be much further up that list.
You'd think so.
Because Troy Baker. Yep. So it is off. It is going. It is being replaced by Cyberverse. Now, this is kind of a news story because we have both now watched the finale of Transformers: Robots in Disguise.
We're not going to spoil it, though, by the way, so you don't need to worry.
We're not going to spoil it. But Andy, I will ask you, sum up your opinion of the finale.
Yes.
And sum up your opinion of the show.
Okay, so it was a 2-parter that I watched today. And it lays out concepts which I think could have made for a very interesting series. If not series, then at least season. Because as ever, it just comes out of nowhere, effectively, this whole story, and gets rushed through, and nothing is drawn out. It's just, here's what's happening, and you're done, and it's over. Goodbye.
Yep. Yeah, I will say there have been maybe 5 episodes in season 2 and season 3 where the word related to the villain for this piece was mentioned.
Really?
I mean the word.
Okay.
Not the name, the word of the group.
Yeah.
So, the setup?
It definitely didn't feel like a finale to a show. Like Prime had a finale with Beast Hunters, and you could even argue that the last episode of season 3 was an ending. It felt like a conclusion, but then you had the Beast Hunter stuff, which cleaned up everything else. This was just felt like an end of a season once again. It's like, okay, fair enough. And The problem is, I didn't care for any of the characters. Like there was no stakes, there was no real peril. The plot point, the crux of this season was barely a thing in the entire season. Like the combine. This is more of a thought on the season, I suppose. The combining a force aspect was not a thing. It was a thing for a few episodes, and just like Menasor was gone after it showed up, and didn't really ever do anything about it afterwards. I think this is a series that is going to 3 years or more from now. If you ask fans that watched it then, or now, I suppose at this point, in the future, 5 years from now, what happened in the show? I personally, I won't be able to tell you because I know I'm gonna forget because nothing's happened and it's so bland and tasteless, like celery, that I just won't remember. It's like Jeremy Johns when he does his movie reviews and he says, yeah, it's gone in T minus now, and that's what this show feels like. It feels like, to me at least, the most bland and insignificant Transformers show we've had, because at least with Armada, I know what happens in it. And it makes me angry because it's not very good in many points. But I know what happens. I know that there's a huge amount of time that's wasted for fucking ever as they get the mini-cons, and then it gets interesting when Unicron pops up. Spoilers for Transformers Armada.
Spoilers for every moment of every minute of those 3 shows.
Yep.
Unicron.
Superlink, I know that there's peace on Earth after Armada. Galvatron comes back, they try and revive Unicron, and then it gets really complicated as fuck. And
then they try to revive Unicron 4 more times.
Yeah, but I know that happens. I know that's a thing that happens. And with Cybertron, I know they go around trying to get the Cyberplanet keys. They get Cyberplanet keys, and then they fight Megatron at the end. That's kind of what that is. I won't remember what this is. I guarantee you. What about you, Mikey? What did you think of the finale and the season ender? Am I being too mean? Am I going off the deep end saying that this is the blandest of all the shows? Maybe not Headmasters. Maybe Headmasters is the blandest.
No, see, the problem you have is that people assume when you say bland, you mean worst.
No, it's not the worst.
The problem with the worst is memorable.
It is, yeah.
Best is memorable.
Yeah.
The middle does not stay with you.
Yeah.
And this runs a real risk of being the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people have criticized people who criticize this show by saying we're all looking for dark stuff. It is a cartoon for children. Blah 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 blah. I'm not arguing any of that. Like, I don't need this show to be blood and guts. I don't need this show to be Prime.
I need the show to be Spawn, the animated series again.
I want everything to be Spawn, the animated series. But as someone, I think it was again referencing TFW, someone pointed out that we did. Everyone's going, "Oh, we need our adult show. We need our show which takes the fans into account." And we're just like, we had that. It's over now. It was called Prime, and before that, Transformers Animated. Those were 2 shows that cared about ye, and this was a show that was like, we know you're there, but this isn't about ye.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it was popular with children. A lot of the characters, because the character archetypes are certainly engaging enough.
Sure.
Like all of them. I still think Bumblebee, would love to see this Bumblebee again.
Yeah. I mean, he's fine. He doesn't really develop, but he's a decent Bumblebee.
Yeah, it's a good, decent character. Lovely performance by Will Friedle. As a finale, probably the strongest of the 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. And that's including the 2.5. Fairly well written, engaging enough, introduces some characters that I would like to see more. Oddly enough, has 3 completely new designs.
Yeah.
In a series, or in a season certainly, which for I think almost every single character is a reused character model.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, no. It is 5 because there's I can't say without spoilers, but there's a reveal, and they need 2 different designs for that reveal. If Andy's exploding.
No, I'm just shooting someone. they told me that RID was better than Prime. I'm just shooting them in the head again and again. Yep, it was a better show. Prime was good.
Yep, good show, good stakes, heavy.
I don't
Heavy.
ever need to reload my gun.
Yeah. Well, it's machine gun. You only shoot one bullet. I'm happy with a lighter show. I am. I'm very welcoming to a lighter show. I'm interested in the Cyberverse. If it's a fun, witty, engaging show that it doesn't take itself too seriously, but hits the beats it needs to, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The finale for RID reminded me of the intro for RID, which was that it was never amazing. That intro, that first opener, it's not amazing. I rewatched it recently, actually. But it is enjoyable fluff. It's a bit funny, bit actiony, bit of witticisms, engaging villain. Fluff. Enjoyable fluff. This finale, I like the villains. Fairly light. It had some fun enough character moments. Didn't play off the personalities to their extremes. A couple of laughs. Ended on a high note. Everything in between this is the finale for that season opener. This is like a finale for a show that was about those two endpoints.
Yeah.
In between those endpoints, you had a repetitive, unoriginal, and most importantly, afraid show. It was afraid of itself because it stops developing about episode 16 or 17 of season 1.
Is that when they introduce Windblade or after that?
I'd say like after they do their first Grimlock focused episode, because he really doesn't get much focus.
Which one was that? Was that the one where he makes bread?
The friend... No, that's the one where he makes friend, but no, I'm talking about the whole show.
Okay.
Like, I'm talking about episode 18 of like season 1.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the first episode
he
of
meets
his
another
development was.
He meets another Dinobot.
Oh, that one. Okay,
King
yeah.
Kylosaurus.
Yes.
Scowl.
Not Snarl.
No. And then the show stops because all the characters, with the mild exception of Bumblebee, repeat the same beats. And I mean the exact same beats. Sideswipe's arrogant. He never develops. He animated Bumblebee's it worse than animated Bumblebee. Him and Strongarm have a big argument. There's no development to that. And the thing is, that's fine in one season. But you're asking me to come back again and again, and you're just going like, well, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing different. The villains went from an interesting bunch, because I do like the pack as a concept, and I like Steeljaw, and I would have liked to see more Steeljaw in all seriousness. To, at least, I would have liked to have seen him more as an effective villain. To a hodgepodge of characters that are pulled out of nowhere, that make no sense in the context of this very show. And the way they deal with this big, overriding bad guy thing at the end of the series is atrocious. What they introduce are character concepts that needed at least a season's proper build-up where these characters appear and talk and interact. And really, they should have been doing it since mid-season 2 because they mentioned the problems that were going to be coming then. They mentioned one or two little throwaway lines that were just like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if they'll ever deal with that.
Yeah. And
they did, but they did it with almost no build-up because there's three villain groups in season 3. There's the Stunticons, there's Steeljaw, and there's Soundwave.
Mm-hmm.
And each one feels completely disconnected from the last and disconnected from the finale. And there's no excuse for that, in my opinion. It is a middle-of-the-road show. It is the one I will forget, and it's also the one I won't be particularly sad to forget about because there's just so little to engage me. It doesn't even have a good toy line.
No.
It has a toy line which was passable. You know, I would love... There's some designs in this show I would love a good solid figure of. Galvatronus. Think the toy for him is terrible. I think having a decent version of that figure would be good. Ultra B. Interesting combiner design.
Yeah.
Would be nice to have a cool toy of that. Mendosaur, you know, I'm always up for official Stunticons.
Sure.
Steeljaw, especially. Oh my god.
Oh, his toy was apparently just Waz, wasn't it?
It is, and he's just like such a cool design. Some of the Decepticons are such cool, interesting designs, and hardly any of them got good toys until very, very end of the toy line. And even then, by the time you hit season 3, all of the Warrior Wave are Autobots. Every single one, except for some delayed figures from season 2 and season 2.5. There's no new characters introduced in season 3 from the villain side that get new toys.
The show was definitely hampered as well by the fact that they stated it was a sequel to Prime. They shouldn't have done that. They really shouldn't have done that.
because the ties don't add anything to it.
No,
Or-
they take away
And it's
because
working. Ready,
it especially
Go.
led audience members of Prime to believe it definitely makes you believe that the show should have been more in line with what Prime was instead of this dramatic shift in tone. It's not like a little shift in tone like Batman the Animated Series to Justice League. It's a massive shift. It's Justice League Unlimited to Care Bears. Anyway, Mr. Mikey, how about we just move on to the last story? It's a quickie, but it's arguably something that should have gone into crappy news as well, as Toys R Us are apparently cancelling orders for the Transformers Titans Return RC figure. It was the pre-orders on Toys R Us were up around the 5th of October, with the 7th of November as a release, and it seems like they have cancelled those orders. We're not quite sure why, but that's not a good sign. So who knows how these things are going to be released, if they are. I assume it would probably be over the Hasbro website only. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Mikey?
I don't think it's great. I'm wondering if the bankruptcy has something to do with it.
Maybe. It probably doesn't help, that's for sure.
I can hear a lot of very angry people in the distance.
I think it also suggests that Grotesque is just going to go up and up and up in price.
Hopefully Japan will pull something with the pair of them.
Maybe not with RC, but I'd like to believe at the very least they'd do something with Grotesque, because it is a heavily retooled thing. Maybe they'd do something with RC. I don't know.
Don't know. They haven't done Nautica yet.
That's true. Well, could you make a good? No, I don't. I don't think that toy makes a good Nautica. To
but
be
they'd
honest,
still do it if they could.
I'd rather have it as an RC figure. I'd rather them do a new RC character and then make her face all Animu as shit, and then we'd have a good Sakamoto thing. I don't think that'll happen though. That's it. That's our news, Mr. Mikey. We are done for this week. So we'll go on to. What have you been doing this week, Mr. Mikey? You been doing something fun, something dandy, something sexy?
Well, always sexy with me. I have stuff to talk about, but I will say, like, anime and stuff got kind of sidelined just because I've been doing some work in the evenings, and that required me to be paying attention and not reading the screen next to me. So I've had stuff on, but it's been sort of stuff I can have on in the background, and I can't do that with anime because it is visual in every sense of the word.
Not if you get the dub.
Even if you get the dub, it's far too visual. But I do have a few things to talk about. One of the things I ended up watching in the background was Stranger Things. I finished watching season 1.
Oh, okay.
Very interesting show, especially to look at it when you're watching it outside the hype machine. Because if I was to judge this show purely on its plot, it would not be great. Because the plot is the tropiest thing I can say I've ever seen. It hits if you can think of a beat, it hits that beat. It even hits the dead deer and the dying deer in the woods trope, which is a thing. This is a thing. Like, they stumble upon a deer, the deer goes missing. Fuck, what happened to the deer? If I was just judging on that, I'd be just like, I mean, it's okay, it's just nothing special. But this show excels in several areas that just blow that out of the water. One, it's tropey on purpose. They're very aware of what they're doing. Two, it is exceptionally atmospheric. The use of special effects, the use of lighting, the use of sound, use of music, very masterfully crafted. And the third thing is just like, the characters are so well acted that sometimes, even if the dialogue is horror movie guff, it is very well delivered, meaningful horror movie guff. 11 is great. Love 11. Hopper is very engaging. The mother's fun. The Jonathan and the boys, they're all fun. Nancy and Steve. Poor old Steve. Poor broken Steve. Just like, Steve, you were hanging with the wrong crowd. They were not nice people. And I like Steve is the guy.
That boy's got some amazing hair as well, doesn't he?
I thought it was an animal. But like,
no, it's the wig from that Halloween Simpsons episode. It's Snake's hair. It does actually look like Snake's hair from the Simpsons.
Steve is the guy I literally went, oh, he's such a dickhead in the first moments, and at the end of the show, I'm just like, you're a cool guy, Steve. You're a cool guy.
Yeah, he grows.
Yeah, you're just hanging out with the wrong crowd. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
You know, everything you do is because of bad influence.
I mean, that's what your mum says every time you come back from a TF Nation.
Yeah, but I'm usually wearing your underwear on my head, so.
Well, I make you wear it. No, my
wear it,
scent.
or you'll room with Wayne and sleep no more.
Nevermore.
But yeah, like those three elements combine to make this really good. The monster is great. Love the monster. Love the fact it's a monster and it's not like a human demon intelligent thing. Like it's just an animal doing animal things. And
I think one good complaint against it is, and I don't know how you do it with the budget, but it would have been nice if there was some, not all, because it wouldn't be possible, but some practical effect.
Would have been lovely. In fact, I think this is the show to do it. Like, should have been really considered. This is something where you want to see the arm moving, and you see the way the light's hitting the arm, or the way light's reflecting off the inverted commas face.
But I understand why they didn't. I assume it's budgetary, and it's it is a lot easier to just use a CG model. But yeah, it would have been nice.
But yeah, great child actors, absolutely brilliant child actors.
It's weird because I'm so used to shitty child actors.
Someone said you're playing children, right? We can do that.
Just be you and read these.
Yeah,
lines.
pretty much. From what I understand, Dustin especially is just being himself.
Yeah.
But
what a nerd.
Although I will say, again, that really, really tropey, really, I mean, this is what you're writing moment of the bullies pulling out the knife and saying, jump off the cliff, kill yourself, cut your friend.
Well, it's deliberately Stephen Kingy, and that like they're Stephen King as
Oh
fuck.
my god, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes. Short of everyone like going, we have to have sex so we can leave this room, it couldn't get more Stephen King. They even mentioned Stephen King's name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like super well done, and very much speaks to nerd culture. Very much a nerd culture thing. I won't be watching Stranger Things Season 2 for a bit. I want to let this settle, and I don't want hype to influence my opinions of that.
Okay.
And apart from that, I did 2 movies that are worth talking about. First up, we have Thor Ragnarok.
Well, you did that last week, but you forgot to
mention
talk about
it. So
it.
I better mention it here.
Yeah.
I saw it, and
you were literally the only person on Earth not to enjoy it.
I've been vindicated today, as of today.
Oh.
Because
Are you going to drag someone in with you and throw them into the deep end and say, this person didn't like it either?
PC was talking to me, and the first thing she said, I went to Thor Ragnarok, and I was in a bad mood for the rest of the day.
You've also told me that PC's not a person.
No, she's a robot.
Yeah.
I built her.
Beep, boop, beep.
Yep. Sometimes I do that just to piss her off. Beep, boop.
Yeah. Well, build her. You make a human being.
And that's like, look, I built another one of you. This one's a D cup. Oh, I hope she didn't hear that one. I'm a dead man if I did.
I hope she did. Yeah, I kind of hope you get wrecked.
I'm taking the risk.
That's fine.
But she didn't like it either. When she told me her reasons for disliking it, I think it really resonated with me. Because Thor Ragnarok, you've seen the trailer, you know the plot. It's a buddy comedy, but at the same time, it's an apocalypse, the end of the world. Oh my god, could this be more serious? And it is not good at melding those two. They butt heads constantly, in my opinion. They don't gel at all. There is no balance between the serious and the dark. Or the serious and the light, rather. The comedy itself is not to my taste. And I have to admit, I was slightly weirded out when I realized I was in a cinema and no one was laughing the entire time. And it was a really full cinema. There was a couple of giggles.
Yeah.
And no one laughed. And again, it's full cinema. I was lucky to get the seat for the day, actually. But the comedy is very in-your-face, slap and tickle kind of stuff, which is fine. If it just wanted to be a buddy comedy, do that. Do your comedy one, do your goofy, fun movie. Don't stick in end of the world. It hurts both storylines to do that, because the end of the world stuff is actually pretty good when it's given 5 seconds to breathe. Like, there's some very heavy stuff. There's some very dark stuff to do with like established characters. It works. I mean, there's even comedy in the heavy stuff that is better. Like the Scourge stuff isn't great, but at least it's tonally more in line with what we've seen before in Marvel. in terms of it's sort of like, okay, this is slightly cringy comedy. But there was just the Thor stuff was just so goofy. It just didn't work. And fuck Korg. Fuck Korg. I hated Korg. Oh my god. He killed literally every scene he was in for me. I mean, everything. He had one good line when he's talking about Thor's relationship with the hammer. Like, I like that. And the rest was just like, nope. Every time you show up, you suck the energy out. You and I watched that video when Guardians came out. Bathos in movies, which is it. Which is the idea that when a serious thing happens, they undercut it by having this really sharp comedic moment. Usually not a subtle one. They used examples like Doctor Strange, and he's crying, and then the cloak wipes his tears away, and he's going, stop it. I think Doctor Strange got away with it for the most part. I think a much better example is Guardian of the Galaxy 2. Because Guardian of the Galaxy, with the only exception being the death of a recurring character, undermines literally every single here's a moment.
Drax and Groot are big reasons for this.
Is a disgusting turn of a character that was really good. I really like Drax, and now he's literally just a gimmick. Every single moment, he has to say a joke. If it's got Rocket or it's got Yondu in it, it's got a chance of being somewhat serious. Or at least the comedy feels more like it did in the first show, first movie.
And there's a reason for their bathos. It's like there's no reason for Drax to do it apart from it's his funny character trait. There's emotional reasons why Yondu and Rocket Raccoon throw that kind of bullshit in. Thor
could have gotten away with the bathos if it had tried for this much straighter action comedy thing. But it didn't. Like, there's a bit at the end where it's like it's a really serious moment, and Korg says something, and it was just like, you literally just took me out of the movie. I am no longer in a movie. I am no longer engaged. I am in a cinema.
Are you saying Korg would be perfect to go into Schindler's List?
Korg in Schindler's List, please. As this South African giant thing starts commenting on, like, oh, she's got the red coat there. Yeah, my mother used to have a red coat. Maybe it's the same one. They're about the same size, really. Yeah. Would you like to lead a revolution? His whole thing is revolutions. Loki also, I couldn't decide if he was very much in character or if they just couldn't decide what they wanted to do with him.
I hear that they just kind of don't do anything with him and leave him kind of floating.
He's kind of there. Yeah. He's got some good moments. There's a nice conversation in a lift, but Hulk is interesting because he's not actually in that much of the movie. I think Banner was the ultimate bathos sufferer. I thought they gave him some terrible lines. And they really didn't do anything with him when he appeared. He just sort of floated there, told some gimmicks, and then kind of hung out in the back. Hulk is interesting because they went with the Savage Hulk. So the very base, very childish Hulk. Interesting starting point. Kind of don't deal with the fact he murders people, but ho-hum. Would like to see them eventually build up to the World Breaker Green Scar Hulk. I think that would be really cool, because they say Hulk's storyline is going to be ongoing between the two Avenger movies. So, why not? Why not? Like, you're doing Planet Hulk, you might as well do World Breaker Hulk at some point. And it's my favorite Hulk. Valkyrie's great. No qualms about Valkyrie at all. Hela had the potential to be the best Marvel villain by a country mile.
Right.
She could easily have just kicked Ego out the door without any worries. Kate Blanchett does an amazing job at what she's given. And holy hell, and allow me to have a very, like, I are man male gaze moment. Holy hell, is she hot in this movie? Like, I usually don't have that moment watching films, but I'm just like, oh my good God. But I did not realize Kate Blanchett in a green skin-tight outfit and black hair would affect me this much.
Who knew?
Because people used to flip out about Galadriel, and I'm just like, all right, blonde elf lady, okay.
She didn't look that good as Galadriel.
She looks good as hell.
She
looks better than women more than half her age. Like if someone said, would you like to go out with the modern starlet, or would you like to go out with Kate Blanchett, I would already be in Kate's car.
I thought you were just going to leave it at she looks better than
She
women.
does. She does. Like, holy hell, more of this, please. But she suffers fully from Marvel villain syndrome. She gets sidelined. She has barely any chance to really develop.
Of course.
Like, she
wouldn't be a Marvel movie if it wasn't
like,
the case.
tone really hurts it. The two tones just don't gel. Like, if I was rating it, might be a 5 or a low 6
out of 10.
Yeah. So, but I know I'm the weird one, and I know the Welsh one is a weird one. I could have told you that myself.
Yeah,
but
well, since our kind of desires and interests kind of flow together,
I'm very curious.
And you specifically told me I'll probably hate it. I was like, oh dear.
You might be gentler to it than I am. I don't know, but I'd be surprised.
Maybe. Well, you've kind of built it up to be like that, so it might be the case.
I think the Jeremy Johns review is very accurate in a way. He's more into what they were doing than I was, but he makes the same points.
Yeah. I think you need to be into that idea of how they're doing it. And that's not what I would want from a Marvel movie.
I mean, I'm totally up for hilarious space adventure buddy cop movie, but make it the hilarious space adventure buddy cop movie.
No, you could do that with probably Nova.
Yeah.
I think that would work with Nova and someone else.
Like, I think you could do it with Thor, but they wanted to do... It's like someone came up with the Thor Ragnarok idea, and then Guardians of the Galaxy 2 made money.
Yeah, Thor and Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray Bill is referenced in this.
That would be a really... That's the buddy cop movie I want to see, Thor and Beta Ray Bill, because they would fight at the start, they'd get the hammer, Beta Ray Bill would get his hammer, and then they could team up together to fight something.
And he's a space
That'd
cop.
Be cool.
Yep. He's a space horse
Yes,
cop.
he is, actually. That's right, he is a space cop. Yeah. God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but there is a Beta Ray Bill Easter egg in this if you're looking for it, which I'm glad.
But it's not actually... Is it actually Bill, though?
It's hinted he was clearly there at one point.
But it's not actually Bill, so I don't
really
care.
Should be Bill.
I didn't think they'd have the balls to try and figure out how to do that weird horse-faced dude. Nightmare horse-faced
And then
man.
just go, oh no, he's quite noble and heroic.
He is, he's lovely, he's great.
He's Steve Blum too.
Yeah, he sure is.
Oh dear. But the other movie, before I just completely destroyed by the internet, the other movie I saw was Murder on the Orient Express, because I am a huge Hercule Poirot fan. Yeah, I'm a huge Hercules Poirot fan. Hercules? Oh Jesus, Hercule Poirot. Like, have been for years. Love the David Suchet stuff. Love the Peter Ustinov stuff from years and years ago. So I was very, very curious to see this adaptation because it's the most famous story and it's one of the few ones I've actually never really gotten into, never really engaged with. I haven't seen the special they did for 2010. I saw the old movie years ago and I don't remember much of it. So I actually went in pretty fresh to this in terms of what the mystery was and the murder and everything else. I went into this really afraid it was just going to be Sherlock Holmes. We're Hollywoodizing this. And there is a fair bit of that. So there is a bit of the movie that is so Hollywood that it throws off the tone of about a quarter of the ending. And it also means that they basically missed like 5 or 6 very key scenes that I feel like they were literally cut out of the movie for time. So you go from, I'm looking for the evidence. I now have a suspect. Just, what? But you were talking, what? What? But I could see that as maybe not a cinema experience, but the TV like afternoon bit of watching, not too shabby at all. Kenneth Branagh directed and he starred as Poirot. Thought he did a great job as a character. They do a weird thing to do with an ex-girlfriend in the story, and it's just like, why are we spending so much time on this? But they also have some kind of interesting character beats. And there's some weight to it. Like, there's some proper weight to this story. It's not the best adaptation by a country mile. But not if you're into your sort of more Edwardian era stories and everything else, I think it's worth watching. It's not a bad take. It's certainly better than I would have put any money down it was going to be in this day and age.
Okay,
so if you're into a bit of detective mystery, especially if you don't know what the story of the murder of the Orient Express is, because once you know, obviously a bit of the shock value's gone. Check it out. It's an interesting one. Andy, what about you? What were you up to this week?
Well, I wrecked my back, so that kind of took me out of commission for most of the week of doing a huge amount. I watched things. I engaged visually with my audio receptors.
Wait,
and
what?
Decided to finish off. Yeah,
You
yeah.
engage
that's right,
visually
you
with
would.
your audio.
You would. With my audio receptors. Don't judge me.
My brain hurts.
You would. So I decided to watch Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Season 2 because I'd seen Season 1 and I thought, well, I may as well finish the season. And it's good. It still follows a lot of the Gundam series kind of structure in a lot of ways, but it does have some nice well, I say nice, they're quite unpleasant themes going on. And it's got the problem of there are two types of main characters usually for Gundam series. You have the whiny little girls, your Camille Bidans and your Amros who just whine and bitch about, oh, we shouldn't be fighting, blah, blah, blah. It's awful. They're terrible. And they go up against the emotionless, I'm dead inside robot men, like your hero Yui's and whatnot. And it was the main character is this. He is Robot Boy. And somehow he attracts two ladies and has a harem, effectively.
Naturally.
Which is weird.
Japan.
Yeah, it's someone with no personality pulls the ladies. I'm like, oh, no, it's so dumb. The good thing about it was, or the best thing about it was how the series ended. It kind of subverted what I thought was going to happen, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a good end to a show, or to the show. I definitely think you benefit if you haven't seen a huge amount of Gundam, because it's a little bit, it's a bit more different. It still gets bogged down with politics, which can be a bit confusing sometimes, especially if you're reading the subs, because sometimes there's so much political crap going on. It's like, okay, so Galahorn is doing this, and this organization on Earth is a different one from Galahorn, and it's not this other organization on Earth. But don't worry, because they're not two big ones that you have to worry about. You only worry about them while you're on Earth, but once you get back into space, they don't really mean anything. And then there's space mafia groups, and it's like, so sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming in kind of that terms. And there was a few little writing problems here and there, but on the whole, if you are interested in checking out a Gundam series, I would say Iron-Blooded Orphans as a whole is good. It's worth watching. Just don't expect your balls to be blown away. And I thought to wash away that kind of serious Gundam woo-woo, I thought to myself, well, why don't we look and see what the specials are, the OVAs for Gundam Build Fighters, because they're the battle logs, which are like 10-minute little things, which are kind of throwaway nothing, but a little bit fun and stupid. And then there was a half-an-hour OVA, which was the GM's counterattack. GM doesn't stand for the mass production Gundam suits. It does, though, but it's not in this terms. GM stands for the Gunpla Mafia.
Right.
Because in Build Fighters, remember, playing with your model kits is a sporting event where they come to life using woo-woo hocus-pocus science. And it's such a big, important sport that there are mafia members who do illegal fights and illegal gambling, and there's a police force that fights them as well. But that's a side part of the Build Fighter story.
That's the side
This was
story.
the Gunpla. It is very much the side story. The main thing is the tournament, and the Gunpla Mafia is just like a thing they keep mentioning. So the Gunpla Mafia have a counterattack, and it's fun because it gets the Season 1 characters, which I think are still the best characters, rather than the bland kind of, oh, here we go, this is just your kind of standard tournament arc, which was Season 2 was. Season 1 has the more, what the fuck is happening? Jesus Christ, what's going on? Gunpla Mafia, for example. What the fuck? Who said that was a thing? Who in the writer's room say, you know what, in our series about people using model kits for toys, we need like underground people, and they all need to wear like trilbies and trench coats and sunglasses, even when they're inside, because they're the Mafia. So I watched that. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it because it's just stupid. It's ridiculously stupid. I also decided to start rewatching the Lord of the Rings trilogy again, because I do enjoy them quite a bit, the extended versions, so 3 hours a pop per movie. I've done Fellowship, I've done Fellowship and The Two Towers, and just need to do Return of the King. Still really enjoy those movies. Still think they hold up pretty well, though the CG, every now and again you go, ooh, but it's like these movies are like old. Like, do you know offhand when Fellowship of the Ring came out, Mikey? Because I can tell you.
2001?
Yeah. Yeah, 16 years old.
I've never seen the extended versions.
Really?
Never seen them.
I mean, they are a slog, but because you're watching at home, it doesn't really matter. But they are 3 hours. It takes in the Fellowship of the Ring, it takes about an hour and a half for them to get to Rivendell.
Oh God,
that's a long. That's the halfway point of the movie. It takes a long time. I think that Fellowship Extended Cut is the worst, just because it is very slow and there's not much that happens in the Fellowship of the Ring in general. While with the Two Towers, of course, you have the Battle of Helm's Deep and all that jazz. So it's a bit more action focused and a bit more interesting. And you got Gollum, and that's cool. But no, still really enjoying them. Still think they're nifty. And I also started watching a new anime because it was just so cute and sweet, and I was like, "Aww!" It's called Netju no Susume.
Don't know.
Have
that
you heard
one.
of it, Mikey?
Don't know. Don't know that one.
It's called. It's something like My Virtual Online Life or something like that, and it's
Wait,
it's about
that sounds familiar.
It's about this 30-year-old lady who's quit a job and is playing an online video game, and she's she's talking with people, and she's kind of a shut-in, but she's having a relationship with people. She's playing as a man, and her love interest is playing a girl character, but they don't know each other, and it's hard. It's like really hard, suggesting that they were the she played an MMO before, and she had this really good friend, and it's not even subtly hinted that this is the exact same person, even though the show keeps going like, oh, well, I knew this guy, and we were, like, really good friends, and it's like, he's the fucking same person. He's the fucking same guy. I know it. You know it. Everyone fucking knows it. The 3-year-old cat that you've got at home watching the show with you fucking knows it as well. Jesus. Oh my God, subtlety is not the show's strong point, but it is very cute and very twee, and it's like, oh. And I also finished watching Stranger Things season 2.
How'd that go?
And that apart from episode 7 is garbage.
I saw a lot of opinions like that.
It's pretty garbage. I think episode 7 is there to set up for conflict in season 3, and that's all it's there for. Because if you don't watch episode 7, I don't think you lose anything. Not really, anyway. Nothing that couldn't be explained in season 3. Apart from that, I think it loses. It's good, but I think because it loses a bit of the mystery of the world. Like, how the Upside Down works, and you have an idea of L. You understand that world more. There's less of a surprise. It's not as much of a discovery. There is still a mystery, of course, but it's not as, I don't know anything about this world. You're not going in completely blind. You know more about this place, so it's not as, and that's what, at least I think, season 1 absorbed you into that world because he didn't know what was going on, and it kind of went, do you want to know more? And you were like, yeah, I do. And you were like, I already know most of this stuff, so that's fine. It's still good, but it does, I don't think it's as good personally, but again, it was very it was like vomit-inducingly sweet. That last episode almost made me hurl and cry at the same time through pure cuteness. I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. Good for you guys. I'm very happy. It's nice. It's very nice. And that's it. I think that's all of significance or worth talking about that I've really done this week. So, oh no, I've got something on my table. I built a Gundam kit which I've had for donkeys because the last batch of Gundam kits I decided I just couldn't be bothered to build it. So I built the 1:144 scale high grade. The Gundam Double X from Gundam After Wars. After War X or After Wars X?
Contagious.
Something like that. Something like that, yeah. It's neat. It's got some problems, as all model kits do, but I like it. It's got some solar panels, so you unfold these panels and they would draw in sunlight. And it's this kind of very slightly lumpy material. So when you put on the foil stickers, you got to like run your fingers over them and do that for ages, and you get this lovely texture to it. It looks really nice. It's got the main problem I have is on the V-fin, the red part in the center is a sticker rather than its own separate piece, which is always a pain in the ass and super disappointing when that's the case. But I really like it. I like After War Gundam, or After War's X Gundam, that show, whatever it's called. I enjoyed it. It's still a standard Gundam show, but it either came out a year after or a year before Wing, and I think it's far better than Wing.
But Andy.
Because the solar panels, as I mentioned.
Andy, the children. The children, Andy.
Yeah, the children. With Gundam Wing, the Gundam Wing had that stupid Buster Cannon, which could just fire the massive beams and just spam them to hell, and it didn't really make a huge amount of sense. With the X and the double X, the solar panels draw in some kind of energy source which powers the giant cannons, which, at least to me, is in quotations, a scientific reason as to why they have giant fuck-off beams which will just eradicate islands and whatnot. You go, okay, it's getting an energy from somewhere else. That makes sense, rather than, you've just got a gun. Angel Wing. I hate that. I hate Endless Waltz.
Why do you hate Endless Waltz?
I hate... Who puts feathers on a robot? Where did they get feathers that big?
But
I hate that suit.
It's in continuity. Which
know.
means there's Zero. At some point, someone was looking at the original Wing Zero and went, "You need to look more stylish."
I like Wing for nostalgia's sake, but it's not a good show. It's super flawed, and Relina's shit.
No, she's amazing.
Relina
She's the best leader. She's best leader.
Oh my god.
She ran a country. Zex.
She's fucking
Zex,
awful.
tall geese.
I like Miliato. Miliato Peacecraft's pretty cool.
Tall geese.
Tall Geese is I really like the Tall Geese. The Tall Geese design's awesome. Yep, Epion's cool. They had, like, the thing about Wing is they had some really good suit designs. I just didn't like many, if all, of the characters.
That bit where Sandrock commits suicide.
Well, it was a shit
Why
suit.
was it?
That was the worst one.
But it wasn't alive.
Well, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
It's not that.
Epion kind of was.
Not that kind of show. This is not Big O.
Yeah, it's no, it's
so
not. It's
it was
weird.
just like, oh, you want to save me? Thank you, Sandrock. I remember even at that young age going like, but it's not alive.
When I was a child watching these things, I usually didn't question things and just rolled with the punches, going, okay.
Looking back now, it's like, it's not alive. Is it alive though? And it's just like, is this like an Ava thing? Is it shackled? Is there a person in there?
Maybe.
There's just one normal sized person in the middle. It's like wired in.
The last thing I did this week was I discovered that through bad people, there are ways to order things from Amazon.jp. So I've been looking at stuff and I've been going, I might need to order things at some point. I'm tempted to put in a pre-order for the Build Soto Wave Series 3, as that's coming out on the 28th of November.
Which one's that?
That's the one that has Blood Stalker.
Starker. That should be... No, Blood Starker would have been better there. Because everyone goes like Stalk Stark, so you should have just mixed them up on purpose.
Stark. And it's also got the dragon dude, the other rider.
Cross.
The one with the two dragons on the face.
It's either Cross or Crosses or Crossy or... we need them to say it out loud before we know.
Yeah, and Ladder and some other ones as well. It looks like a fairly interesting line. It's got some good colours and whatnot in there. And it's got Build, and it's got another rider and another rider. So it's got 3 actual riders rather than just it's Build and a load of build forms. So we'll see. If I can figure it out, I might do it if I have the monies for it. Money. But we'll wait and see. That'll do us for this week, Mr. Mikey. And before we finish, I just want to say a big thanks to a new contributor, which is Nicholas Cochran, I think is how you say it, for joining us on the Patreon. Thank you very much for joining us. It also says Jeremy Dennis joined us as well, but I'm pretty sure he was already with us to begin with.
What are you telling us, Jeremy?
But thank you to both of you.
Thank
guys.
you both, so much,
yeah.
as always. Thank you.
Yes, super good of you to hop on and join
Jeremy,
us.
thank you for joining us again.
Yes, potentially.
or thank you for confusing Andy enough to make him think you joined again.
Yeah, because I got the email saying he joined yesterday, but I checked on the Patreon and I checked the notifications and it said he joined a while ago.
Maybe it's just recognized.
So
Maybe he's like dodgy.
He's got a dodgy account, maybe.
Yeah. He's got like puppet Patreon accounts.
Oh man, that would suck. That'd be
Yeah.
weird. Could be the case. I don't know.
Scum, Jeremy. You scum.
Where can people find you on the internet, Mr. Mikey, if you want them to?
You can find me on Twitter as Irish Pelly. You can find me on YouTube as GWolfie3. You can find me over in the oldhouse.co.uk or .weebly.com, whichever one it is at the moment. You can find me on paleoandnerd.wordpress.com, and you can find me bent over a computer trying to figure out how to write a cover letter. Andy, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr, CCTFW, on YouTube as Cobra Commander TFW. You can find this podcast on the Moonbase 2 forums. We're on Twitter when Mikey uses it. We're on iTunes. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. And I should, if I remember, get the 20-minute preview or tease, I suppose, for the Kamen Rider Exade podcast out probably today once this podcast is done. So it'll be up by the time you see this anyway. I should hope. As a little teaser to get you into the Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, you can head over to patreon.com/moonbase2, and if you do $2 each month, you will get the early version and extended off from the Files of Teletron 2. And you'll get the full version of the Kamen Rider Exade discussion podcast, along with the other Moonbase woo-woo shows. And I think that's
you
it.
get interviews
I think that's enough,
and
to be
show
honest.
releases a week before everyone else.
That's right. Yes, thank you, Mikey. And that's us done. That's us done for the week. I think we talked longer than we initially planned to, but hey-ho, there you go. Thank you, Mikey, for joining me this week. Obviously, we did have problems last month because the podcast was too long, so hopefully we won't have that problem this month.
Andy.
We had a lot of conventions to do last month.
Andy.
We did like 2 or 3 2-hour to 2.5 hour podcasts, so it's like, oh dear, woof. Anyway, we will catch you next week for more Moonbase 2 action, and Mikey will probably regale me with some comic stuff, which we'll need to start recording very soon, I would imagine.
Yes. My colds are feet.
You are now leaving Moonbase 2.